Hi there, this is Katherine from Crafting with Katherine, and I'm sharing a paper pad I picked up called Sweet Talk from my local Michael's. It's all full of gold foil accents, lots of hearts, red and pink. There's some blue and yellow as well, some large word papers, some border papers. I love these bold hearts. There are also some two papers that are scrapbook size. It's got some hearts, gold hearts, like I say, lots and lots of gold foil. So beautiful. These cute little kind of geode shaped hearts. An XO paper. It has these pieces that you can make valentines out of, that you just cut and fold in half and you've got valentines. I'm going to modify a couple of those and make a card with. Got these bold words that are contrasting in red and pink. A couple of ombre pieces, and then these great sentiments that are 3 inches by 1 inch, and there are 2 pages of those, and there are lots and lots of them. These XO, a little larger with gold foil, of course, a conversation hearts paper that is just too cute. This paper is a little hard to see. It's pink with lips and then more gold foil, different shapes and sizes that you can cut and make different things out of. This page is sort of like a sprinkles. There's no gold on it. And then another word page in blue. And then another sort of ombre paper with blue pulled in there. I also purchased a sticker book that I thought was just too cute. I'll probably use these to seal my cards. It has hearts and borders and banners and some floral with lots and lots of gold accents. We're going to begin with the heart stencil from Stamps of Life. I'm using some texture paste that has kind of a pearlescent sheen to it. I'm just adding it to one of my pieces from the paper pad, the pink one in this case, and I'm just trying to keep it as even as possible and keep it off the edges because there are other parts of the stencil, so I'm trying to just use the big heart. So I've got the pink one done, and then I'm going to repeat the same process with the blue one, and then I'll let those dry. They probably take 30 minutes to an hour to get a good dryness to them, and then I'll pick those back up. I got a little bit smudge on that. I just wiped it off very quickly because it was wet and it would allow me to do it. You really couldn't even see it once it dried. So I kept these cards very basic, just mounted them onto cardstock and used this big sheet of sentiments to add a sentiment in the center. I wanted to really keep this heart the focal point because it's hard to see, obviously, on camera, but it really is beautiful in person. And then on this next card, I'm using the same stencil again and repeating the same process. I'm just using a different part of the stencil. This stencil has the large heart that I used on the other cards, a smaller kind of border. There are a couple of other hearts on the stencil as well, but I chose the border. And after that dries, I cut out a few hearts from the XO paper and then added another dotted heart on top with the love you. Those are all the dotted hearts. And then added paper behind the love you, which is kind of a holographic paper that I had in my stash. These next cards I kept very simple. I used these large, bold sentiments that I cut out of my pages on the paper pad. I used the XO paper, and then I'm going to use one of the foam sheets that I love so much that I get from Stamps of Life. They're about 6 by 6 inches. and I use those all the time to pop things up. So I'm also using another piece with hearts that have all the gorgeous gold foil, and then added another large sentiment that's also in gold to tie those together. On this card, I'm using the border sheet for some of this. There's the large sheet that has lots of borders. I trimmed those down that had the hearts and the envelopes on them, and added those to the bottom of my foiled cardstock. And then all of these pieces, it's hard to see except for the border, have some gold accents. And the Love You, it's a little hard to see as well, but it has a grid pattern. So it was all one piece, and I decided to cut it apart to fit the card better. I trimmed down a piece that has the gold foil on it, "You Are My Favorite Person," and you could use that in a scrapbook for sure, but I thought it would make a fun card front. So I added it to a piece of the sprinkle paper, and then added one of my little mouse friends. I cannot remember what stamp set this is from, but I thought he was very cute to go on a Valentine. This card has more of the gold. Again, I just trimmed down a piece that had the gold border and added that to my card with a heart that also has the gold foil. Lots of foil on this pad. I added a love bug that was already pre-colored from a previous card kit from Stamps of Life, and then added Best Day and made that short and sweet. Now I'm going to add some doilies to a couple of my cards. This gorgeous doily, it's doily number 1 from the Stamps of Life. I used that same holographic paper that I had in my craft stash to cut out the doily on this one, and I added it to the paper that has the little tiny lips on it. And again, another one of those sentiments I added. There are so many of them, and they're such a great size. They just fit perfectly in front of the doily. And on this one, I've got a gold one to tie in with that beautiful foiling on the paper, and just kept it really simple. That doily should be the center piece of it. I pulled out my heart folded, also from Stamps of Life, and I thought they would be perfect to make Valentines with this paper pad. I had the couple of large squares that I wasn't going to use from the paper pad, so I decided to cut them out, the Be Mine and the XO, and add them to my heart folded. And then I did the same with some of the paper pad pieces. I added the sentiments on that one as well. Now it's time for a slimline. I couldn't make a video without a slimline card. So I cut my card base and added some of the heart paper and just cut with the large 3.5-inch alphabet XO. And I kept the whole gold theme going. I had a couple of papers in my craft stash. One is a foil and one is a glitter paper to have a little tiny bit of contrast, but it just really made it pop. Again, it's so hard to see in the video, but in person it's really, really fun. There are some Valentines included in the paper pad that I cut out, and you'll see you can just fold them in half, and then you have some Valentines you could easily use, or your kids could use. I cut this one with the Be Mine apart, and I'll save that little piece for something else. I used my Elegant Edge card base to cut my card, and then added some XO paper with the foil. And on the inside, I decided to put the small lips. They're just so cute. And you can still write a sentiment easily on top of that. I'm going to add some foam to the Be Mine to pop it up. Again, it's these foam sheets I love. And it makes it really quick and easy to add a little bit of dimension and make sure it's nice and sturdy. I made another slimline, actually two. There was a larger piece in the paper pad, and I wondered if it would fit a slimline. So I pulled it out, and sure enough it did. It fit it perfectly. I just had to trim it down a little bit. It ended up being 6.5 was a good measurement for it. So I trimmed that down, and very quickly I had two quick slimline cards. Again, it's hard to see in the video, but there are lots of beautiful foil accents on this one particularly, and it's in one of the pages of the pad. So just a quick, easy way to make a fun slimline. If you've followed me for a minute or two, you know I love to make a treat container or a treat box. And of course I was going to make a zigzag bag. This is one of my all-time favorite dies. I could never, ever part with from Stamps of Life. I use it all the time, and I don't exaggerate. Go look on my Instagram or my Facebook and you will see that it pops up a lot. It's just a great product. It fits gift cards beautifully. So I took some of those borders and trimmed them down. And then there were these cute XOs, little square XO pieces that I trimmed out as well from one of the pages to make that. So I'm gluing some border pieces to the top and the bottom, and I'll trim those off. And then I've got two gift holders. These will most likely go to my two daughters, my two teenage daughters, and will be filled with some gift cards for Valentine's Day. I was going to use this conversation heart paper because it's some of my favorite, and I decided to pull out my milk carton die, and I just cut a piece. I'm going to glue it down. It's so easy. One piece through your die cutting machine, and you've got this cute box. I've got to glue the bottom down, and the way I like to do it is it's a little hard to hold. So I'll hold it for a second, and then I flip it over and use my bone folder to really help me get that glue to adhere, and it keeps it square. And then there are these creases. You really cannot see them on this application because the paper is so white, but you're going to see that I'm kind of pushing in, and the folds will allow you to fold the top down, and you get that milk carton shape, and it's so cute. And it's just perfect for little treats. I'm going to fill it with 3 little chocolate candies, and then I'm going to clip it off with a tiny little clothespin. We have reached the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you find some inspiration, what you see today. And let me know if you have a favorite card. I would love to hear. And again, I picked this up in my local Michael's store, and I hope that it has inspired you to create something pretty today. And if you enjoyed this, subscribe and share, and I hope to see you back soon. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate you.